Ambassador Daniel Pierce sat in the cold metal chair and tried to keep his face calm. Around him, aliens of every shape and size filled the massive room. Some floated in the air. Some had too many legs. Some glowed with strange colors. But all of them were looking at the humans like they were stupid children. "You do not understand how things work here," said Chancellor Vexillar. His voice came through the translator as flat and boring. The insect-like alien clicked his mandibles together. "We have kept peace in this galaxy for 12,000 years. Your species has been here for only 20 years. You are too young to make demands." Daniel wanted to slam his fist on the table. He wanted to shout. But he had been a diplomat for 30 years and he knew better. Next to him, Commander Lisa Grant was gripping her chair so hard her knuckles turned white. She had lost friends in the pirate attacks. Good people who died while the aliens did nothing. "Chancellor, we are not making demands," Daniel said slowly. "We are asking for the same protection you give everyone else. Human colonies have been attacked 17 times this year. Your ships never came to help, not even once." A floating crystal being named Charal made a sound like wind chimes. The translator said it was laughter. "The outer regions have always been dangerous. Maybe humans should not have built colonies so far away if they cannot protect them." Daniel felt something break inside him. For 2 decades, humanity had tried to be good members of this Galactic Council. They had followed every rule. They had paid every fee. They had asked politely for help when pirates burned their homes and killed their people. And every time the answer was the same: "The rules cannot be changed. You are too new. You do not understand." Captain Ryan Moore watched from above the main floor. His military uniform stood out among all the flowing robes and strange clothes the aliens wore. He had commanded defense missions at 3 different colonies. Each time he arrived too late because council laws said humans could not keep heavy weapons at their settlements. Each time he pulled bodies from burning buildings. Bodies of farmers and teachers and children who died because the council said they were acceptable losses. That night, Daniel sent an encrypted message back to Earth. The message was short. "They will never treat us as equals. It is time to make a choice." On Earth, in a secure room deep under Washington, President Catherine Shaw read the message. Around the table sat her top advisors. Secretary of Defense Paul Mason looked tired. He had been arguing with the council for months about the attacks. "If we leave the council, we are on our own," said General Frank Miller. "No allies, no backup, no protection." "What protection?" asked Admiral Helen Cross. She commanded the human fleet and she was angry. "Our colonies burn and they do nothing. Our people die and they make excuses. They have already left us alone. The only difference is that now we will stop pretending." President Shaw looked at each person in the room. She had hoped it would not come to this. When humans first met aliens, everyone had been so excited. Finally, they were part of something bigger. But the galaxy was not what they had hoped. It was old and tired and scared of change. "Send the order," Catherine said. "Bring everyone home. We are done." The message went out across all of human space. Every diplomat, every scientist, every human working in council territory got the same order. Come home. Within a week, human ships were leaving alien space. Some aliens were confused. Some were angry. Most did not care at all. Ambassador Daniel Pierce packed his things from the quarters he had lived in for 5 years. His alien assistant, a small furry creature named Pick, looked sad. "Why are you leaving?" Pick asked. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, Pick, you were a good friend," Daniel said. "But my people cannot stay where we are not respected. The council had 20 years to treat us fairly. They chose not to." On Unity Station, Dr. Laura Bennett loaded her research equipment onto a transport ship. She had been studying alien biology with scientists from 6 different species. Some of them were her friends. They came to say goodbye, but none of them spoke up when the council ignored human suffering. That hurt more than the attacks. At New Dakota Colony, Governor Chris Hayes got the news and actually smiled. For years, he had begged the council to let his people have better weapons to protect themselves. The council always said no. They had rules about what young species could have. Now those rules meant nothing. "Get me the armory officer," Chris told his assistant. "We are about to do a lot of shopping." President Catherine Shaw appeared on screens all over Earth and every human colony. Her face was calm, but her words were hard. "Today we leave the Galactic Council. We asked for partnership and got ignored. We asked for protection and got rules. We asked for equality and got treated like children. We will not beg anymore. Humanity will stand alone like we always have, and we will be strong." On Station Harmony, the Council's central base, Chancellor Vexelar held an emergency meeting. The huge room echoed with voices of hundreds of different species. "Let them go," growled Ambassador Krell. He was a massive reptile-like being who loved war. Humans were always too aggressive, too violent, too unpredictable. We are better without them. Most of the Council agreed. They went back to their normal business. But not everyone was happy. Science Director Myra Telvin stood up to speak. She was a Peltharian, a species that looked like tall birds with 4 arms. She had worked closely with humans and knew them better than most. "We are making a terrible mistake," Myra said. "Humans are the most adaptable species I have ever studied. In 20 years, they have learned what took us 200 years. They copy, they improve, they create new things constantly. When they are gone, they will grow stronger, and they will remember how we treated them. They are children playing with weapons," Vexelar said dismissively. "Without us to guide them, they will probably destroy themselves." Myra sat down, but she was not convinced. She had seen what humans could do when they were motivated. The Council was making an enemy, and they did not even know it. Back on Earth, the real work began. Admiral Helen Cross stood before a room full of military leaders and showed them a holographic map of human space. "This is the Fortress Protocol," she said. "Every colony becomes a stronghold. Every trade route gets defended. Every single human settlement will have the weapons and training to protect itself. The Council held us back with their rules. No more. Dr. Laura Bennett took charge of the research division. The Council restricted our research in dozens of areas. They said certain technologies were too dangerous. We are not restricted anymore. We are going to develop everything they told us not to." Commander Lisa Grant, now promoted to head of Colonial Defense, started training programs on every world. "Every person will know how to fight if needed. Every settlement will have soldiers. We will never be helpless again." 6 months later, the first test came. A trading ship from the Velkorian species entered human space. They used an old route that had been open for years under Council trade agreements. They expected to pass through like always. Instead, they got a message. "You are in human territory. Turn back or submit to inspection and pay transit fees. You have 10 minutes to decide." The Velkorian captain was shocked and angry. He called the Council and demanded they do something. The Council took hours to respond. Finally, they told him to do what the humans said while they figured out the legal issues. The inspection was professional but thorough. The fees were small but required. The Velkorians were allowed to pass, but they understood the message. Human space had human rules now. Word spread fast through the galaxy. Some species accepted the change and filed proper requests to use human routes. Others, like the proud Keltharn, complained loudly about humanity's aggressive behavior. The humans ignored all complaints. They had learned an important lesson. Words without power meant nothing in the galaxy, and humanity was done being weak. The real test came 8 months after humanity left the Council. A fleet of Tharkian raiders decided that humans were now easy targets. They were a species that loved to steal and fight. They thought humans without Council protection would be weak and scared. They chose to attack New Perth, a mining colony on the edge of human space. The Tharkians expected to find frightened miners with weak defenses. They expected to take what they wanted and leave before any help could arrive. The attack started at 4 a.m. station time. By 3 minutes past 4, every human military ship within 6 light years knew about it. The new Sentinel network that Admiral Cross had built saw the Tharkian ships the moment they crossed into human territory. It tracked them through 3 different star systems. Admiral Ryan Moore got the alert on his flagship. He smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "All ships jump to New Perth. Let us show these raiders what happens now." At New Perth, Governor Rachel Martin stood in her command center and watched the enemy ships approach. 2 years ago, she would have been terrified. The colony would have sent desperate calls for help that might never come. Now things were different. "Power up all defense platforms," Rachel ordered calmly. "Launch all fighter squadrons. Load the new weapons Dr. Bennett sent us last month. And someone get me a cup of coffee. This will not take long." The Tharkian commander was named Groktar. He had raided dozens of settlements in his career. As his ships got closer to New Perth, he started to feel nervous. The colony had a lot more weapons than his intelligence reports suggested. A lot more. "They should be begging for mercy by now," his second officer said. "Why are they not transmitting surrender?" Before Groktar could answer, the humans opened fire. The weapons were nothing like what his reports described. Lasers that seemed to bend around his shields, missiles that his computers could not track properly, defense platforms that moved and dodged like living things. "Return fire," Groktar shouted. But it was too late. 3 of his ships were already dead, floating in space as broken metal. Then Admiral Moore's fleet arrived, dropping out of faster-than-light travel right behind the raiders. The Tharkians were surrounded. The battle lasted 17 minutes total. Not a single raider ship escaped. Most were destroyed. A few were disabled and captured. Governor Rachel sent a message to Admiral Moore. "Thanks for coming, but we had it under control." It was not just pride talking. Analysis of the battle showed that the colony's own defenses were winning before the fleet arrived. The military had come just to make sure no enemy survived to tell others about human weapons. But Admiral Moore did let one Tharkian survive on purpose. An officer named Dreknor was pulled from a damaged ship, treated for his injuries and given food and water. Then Moore brought him to the observation deck. "Look out there," Moore said, pointing at the wreckage of the Tharkian fleet. "See what happened to your ships. Now I'm going to put you in a small escape pod and send you home. Do you know why?" Dreknor, still shaking from fear, shook his head. "Because I want you to tell everyone what you saw here. I want you to tell every raider, every pirate, every species that thinks humans are weak. Tell them what happens when you attack us now. Tell them this was mercy. The next group will not be so lucky. Do you understand?" Dreknor understood perfectly. He was released near Tharkian space in a pod with enough supplies to survive. When he reached his people, his testimony spread like fire through the criminal underworld. The species that the Council had abandoned, that everyone thought was vulnerable, had just destroyed an entire raiding fleet without taking a single loss. Within a month, attacks on human colonies dropped to 0. Word got around fast. Humans were not prey anymore. A year after leaving the Council, humanity faced another kind of problem. The Council had expected human trade to collapse without their support. Instead, it was growing. Ambassador Krell had to stand before the Council's Economic Committee and give them bad news. The humans have made direct trade agreements with 47 different species. They are not following our trade rules. They are offering better deals, faster shipping, and better protection than we provide. The truth was simple. Humans had stopped playing by rules that were designed to keep them weak. They traded directly with anyone who wanted to trade. They charged fair prices. They delivered on time. And they did not make species fill out 100 forms just to buy grain or sell minerals. Dr. Nathan Clark ran Earth's Trade Department now. He looked at the quarterly reports and laughed. "We are actually making more money outside the Council than we did inside it. No fees, no tribute payments, no old species getting special treatment, just honest business." On New Dakota, Governor Chris Hayes watched his world transform. For years, the Council had restricted what crops they could grow and where they could sell them. Now they could farm freely. The colony went from barely surviving to genuinely wealthy in just 1 year. "Turns out," Chris told a reporter, "when you let farmers farm without asking permission for every seed, amazing things happen." 2 years after the withdrawal, the Council faced an even bigger shock. Dr. Laura Bennett held a press conference that was broadcast across the galaxy. She stood next to a large holographic display that showed a new engine design. "We call it the Phoenix Drive," Laura explained. "It makes faster-than-light travel 40% quicker, while using 30% less energy. And we are offering the technology to all our trade partners at cost." The room exploded with noise. Species from across the galaxy started shouting questions. The implications were massive. The Council had always controlled the best technology, keeping newer species dependent on them. Now humans were giving away technology that made the Council's engines look old and slow. But that was just what they announced publicly. The private developments were even more impressive. Intelligence reports reaching the Council spoke of human ships appearing in systems with no logical way to get there, of shields that adapted to enemy weapons in real time, of defense systems that seemed almost intelligent. Chancellor Vexlar read the reports and felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. "How did they advance so quickly?" he asked Myra Telvin. The Peltharian scientist looked at him with something like pity. "Because we held them back. For 20 years, we forced them to develop slowly, using our methods, following our philosophy. We created barriers and called it guidance. Now there are no barriers. They are doing what humans do best. They adapt and improve at a speed that should be impossible, but somehow is not. 3 years after leaving, humanity surprised the galaxy again. Ambassador Daniel Pierce, now retired from government service, had spent those years traveling. He visited small species that the Council mostly ignored, species with little power and less respect in the galactic community. Then came the announcement, broadcast on 73 worlds at the same time. The Free Trade Alliance was born. Humanity was a founding member, but not the leader. The alliance represented almost 200 species, mostly small ones, now united in trade and mutual defense. President Catherine Shaw, now in her second term, spoke at the first Alliance Assembly. We know what it means to be ignored, to be dismissed, to be told your concerns do not matter. The Free Trade Alliance is built on one simple idea. Every member's voice matters equally. We succeed together or fail together. The Council's first reaction was to laugh and call the Alliance a group of weak species pretending to be strong. But the numbers told a different story. The combined economic power of the Alliance matched the Council's biggest members. The combined military strength, especially with human training and technology, was nothing to dismiss. Species like the Vrenith, whose planets were rich in minerals but had been exploited under Council regulations, now traded freely and made real profits. The Peltharians joined immediately, because they valued the scientific cooperation humanity offered. Admiral Ryan Moore now commanded the Alliance Joint Defense Force. He ran training exercises that combined the unique abilities of each species. The diversity that the Council had used to divide and control was now a source of incredible strength. Ambassador Krell called it, "weak species playing pretend." Admiral Moore's response was simple. Then why are you worried? 4 years after humanity left the Council, everything changed. A new enemy appeared from beyond known space. They were called the Korthak Swarm. They were relentless, numerous, and powerful. The first 3 star systems that met them were completely destroyed. The Council mobilized all its forces, confident that their numbers and ancient tactics would win. Within 6 months, they were losing badly. The Korthaks adapted to every strategy. They learned from every battle. They pushed forward without mercy or hesitation. The Council's rigid command structure, designed for politics and small conflicts, could not handle total war. Chancellor Vexlar, humbled by terrible losses, made the call he swore he would never make. He sent a message to Earth requesting a meeting with President Shaw. The human response took 3 days. When it came, it was brief. "We will meet. Station Frontier, neutral space, 1 month from now. Come prepared to negotiate as equals or do not come at all." Station Frontier was a human-built station, deliberately designed to look like Station Harmony but better. The symbolism was obvious and intentional.